Alright folks, welcome to another episode of Star Mountain Outdoors and Bushcraft. And for today's episode, I am going to do an epic through hike of the Skyline Trail in the Pecos Wilderness. So come join me. I love you. Bye-bye. Alright, my family has left me alone at the middle of a very long dirt road, and this is the trailhead. It looks like it hardly ever gets any use. But anyway, this is where my journey begins. Interesting old spot of trail construction, but so far it doesn't look like this trail gets used or maintained very often. Alright, I'm probably only about a mile or so into the trip, but things are already going kind of weird. After my wife dropped me off, I realized I do not have my phone with me. So I think what happened was it fell out of my pocket and slid down beside the seat in the car. So I am phoneless on this trip. And that's kind of a bad thing for several reasons. Number one, that was my only way to tell time. Now I'm just going to have to go by the sun. Number two, I was going to use it to plot my mileage. Number three, I needed to call for a ride at the end of the trip. So I'm going to have to borrow somebody's phone at the ski basin at the end of the trip, I guess. Luckily there's always people there. But yeah, and I was going to use it to film number 4. So that was the main reason why I was bringing it. So anyway, that's what's going on so far. Making life interesting. I was just about to record the date and time when I found money on the ground. Talk about very odd. Just $3 bills just laying there. I swear to God, I did not put them there. They were just there. So I guess I will pick them up. So anyway, this is the only way I'm going to be able to keep track of date and time. I didn't bring anything to write on or anything. So today is Saturday, August 31st, and I have until around midday Saturday, I believe it's the 7th of September, so it's going to be a long trip and it's already a strange one. Alright, I'm about a mile in, and I believe that this is a trail junction. I think this is my trail, and this is the Porvenir Trail. So that goes down to El Porvenir Canyon. It's very hard to see, but there's blazes next to the trail. This does not get a lot of use or maintenance. There's already a storm building up, and I'm heading straight for it. But it doesn't look very big. Hopefully it'll just blow over. And maybe I can just hit the side of the trail, set up a tarp and take cover or something. That might be my best course of action. We'll see. Alright folks, I haven't even been hiking 2 miles yet. And I felt like I was forced to set up a temporary tarp shelter until this storm passes. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it behind me, but it's really rumbling. No rain or anything yet, and it might move east, because that's been the pattern lately. So it may move away from me, and I may not even get any rain or anything. But I'm up on top of a ridge top with a lot of thunder and lightning. Taking cover seems prudent. I'd say that answers my question. Okay folks, I'm going to take advantage of the weather here to show you what I'm doing on this trip. So this is the trailhead I started at, Elk Mountain. And it's a long, nasty road getting up here. I think I ticked off my wife making her drive me up here. She's not used to these types of roads. So I'm hoping she's alright driving out. I'm sure she will be. She made it up here, so. But anyway, I've made it to maybe about right here, I think. There's a little meadow or whatever right there. I'm going to continue on the Skyline Trail 251. Tomorrow I'd like to camp at Santiago Lake. Never been there before, I'm sure it's beautiful. And then come across this divide to Truchas Lakes, to Pecos Baldy, to Horse Thief Meadow, Lake Johnson, Lake Catherine, and then out to Tsuki Peak Radio Tower. That's the plan, and that's the entire Skyline Trail in the Pecos Wilderness. I think it's approximately 50 miles. Now we're getting a little rain. Lots of thunder too. I just saw a flash. Hope that wasn't too close. Whew. Glad it wasn't. So I'm stuck under a tarp for a little while. That's the way it goes sometimes, I guess. Wish I wasn't on top of an 11,000 foot ridge during a thunderstorm, but I knew there was a chance this would happen. And I don't think it'll last that long. It'll take off to the east, I'm sure. Now we're getting a little hail. That's what usually happens in these storms. Here are my first views out towards Truchas Peaks. Looks like it got a little hail on top of the peaks. They're a little white. But anyway, the storm cleared up and I'm on my way again. That worked like a charm, just to set up a tarp for an hour or two until the storm passed, and now I'm good to go. Alright, I've just come to a large post to let me know I'm still on trail. It's been there's been some maintenance on this part of the trail here. Not all the way to the trailhead, but I've seen some branches that are freshly cut, still have red needles on them. So possibly even earlier this year or late last year, somebody came through here and did some brushing. The vast majority of the forest here has been Engelmann spruce. An occasional subalpine fir. In through here, I'm getting an occasional bristlecone pine. Nice. Okay, you can see the sticks like right there. Those are the root markers I've been following, but that's the last one I found. I'm going to have to do some root finding. And I came from that last mountain at the very end right there. That's Elk Mountain. So I've gone a few miles so far. And if we pan over this way, I hope you can see that. But Hermit's Peak is through there. It's that cliff area. Actually, let me put it right in the middle, right there. That's Hermit's Peak. And El Porvenir Canyon is also down there. Pretty cool. And then out to our east again, we have the Great Plains opening up like an ocean below us. It's hard to see with all the rain that way, that big storm that passed by us a little while ago. But that's it, that's the Great Plains. Here's a sign that I think is just a viewpoint sign towards Hermit's Peak, but it's fallen down. I do see another rock pile up ahead though, so I'm going in the right direction. There's a grouse that flew up and landed up in the tree right there. My first bit of wildlife on this trip. Pretty cool. Here's something I really have to be careful about these days, because I don't have any Benadryl or anything if I get stung. That's a hornet's nest. Yellow jacket, whatever you want to call it, right next to the trail. The trail is Right there, there's the nest, and I've got to go around that, so I'm going to be extremely careful, keep my distance. Okay, I've come to a trail junction. I really can't make heads or tails of which trail's which. I'm going to have to check the map, because this signpost has rotted at the bottom and fallen off its pile of rocks and is just laid up against the trees there, so I think that this is the way I'm going. Not that way, but I'm going to have to look and see. This is interesting, the way they cleared this trail through a burn area. I need to be looking up, make sure branches don't fall on me and that sort of thing in this kind of area. Even trees could fall, especially with the storm approaching. So I'm looking forward to getting through this burn in the next half mile or so. Okay, let's do a quick little handheld pan. Almost 360 degrees. But anyway, there's Hermit's Peak that way. The Great Plains out past that. There's the direction I'm going, following the rock piles. And there's Truchas Peaks over there. East and West Santa Fe, or Pecos Baldy right there. And back behind there is Santa Fe Baldy. I did forget to mention, as I'm looking over Truchas Peaks, that there is another storm coming this way. It looks like a bigger one, so I may want to settle down and find a place to camp. Maybe just do a dry camp on top of the ridge here for tonight. I think that would be wise. Here I am at another trail junction. The Rosciata Trail is more evident than the Skyline Trail. I think I'm going to go up in those trees and just make a camp up there. Alright, I've got my makeshift camp set up here, but I think the storm's missing me to the north. It's not even raining here right now. It was a little while ago, but I think the storm's up there. And heading east, and it's going to miss me barely. Anyway, for my cooking shelter, I just made, there's not a lot of trees around, so I just made kind of a plow point off of one tree and then used my trekking pole to raise it up in the middle a little bit. It's kind of ugly, but effective. Alright, so it did rain. I'm glad I set up camp. And now I'm relaxing and cooking some dinner. That is a weird looking cloud, if you ask me. Alright, I decided to eat my dinner out here in the meadow where there's a view. And it's beautiful. That sky with the sun peeking through the clouds is beautiful. Alright folks, so I just finished up my first meal of the trip, and it was the Mountain House beef stew. Unfortunately, I wasn't all that impressed with it. I thought the texture of the potatoes and the meat was a bit rubbery, and I thought that it could have used a little more spice, a little cumin, a little chili, something to just give it a little extra zing. If you bring some hot sauce or something like that, you could doctor it up yourself and it would be pretty good. I guess I would give it maybe a 6 out of 10. That's not a bad view from my campsite. A rainbow and Hermit's Peak in the background. Just beautiful. I'm loving, loving, loving it. Now it's turned into a double rainbow over Hermit's Peak. Spectacular. And it's brighter too. Now the rainbow's got a darker background and it just stands out. It's amazing how it sticks around yet keeps changing. Right, the evening light is very pretty right now. And let me zoom in, but I can see all the way down into the plains, including that looks like Story Lake right there. just outside of Las Vegas, New Mexico. And again, let me pan over. And we've got Hermit's Peak down there. It's really pretty. Look at this light. How's this for a postcard picture? Not bad. I'm enjoying the view. I hope we get a sunset out of this too. This is pretty cool out right now. The sun's hitting some Virgo over there. It's coming through from under the clouds. Turning the clouds red just above the mountains. Very pretty. This is the kind of stuff I want to see when I'm camping. It was so pretty out in front of me that I was forgetting about what's behind me. And that's over by Hermit's Peak, around to Elk Mountain where I started. That's a painting right there. Awesome. I wasn't going to try to use up too much of the battery life today, since it's just the first day, but man, this is this is really pretty. Alright folks, it's the end of the day, the sun's going down behind the tents there, and it's time to turn in. So I'm going to call it quits for today, and see you in the morning. I know it's dark right now, but I'm trying to pick up the sound of the coyotes howling. They're pretty close. Welcome to day 2 of my adventure. I'm waking up to a nice sunrise this morning, and I hope I can share it with you. Alright, breakfast is over. I've had my coffee, packed up camp, and I'm on my way back up the trail again. Starting day 2. Let's get to, what is the name of that? Sebastian Lake? No. I forget the name of it now, but I'll fill you in a moment. Wow, what a view from up here. It's amazing. The trail's been nice and flat until I got here, and I'm looking out in the direction I'm heading. Now I'm on a kind of a narrow rocky ridge. Most of the trail's been on kind of a broad rounded ridge, so this is kind of a nice change. Views in both directions through the trees. Holy crap, I did not know this was here. This is an old plane wreck. I don't think I've ever found one of these in the woods before. I hope nobody was hurt, but this is kind of cool to find. I'm gonna be heading across there tomorrow. Should be beautiful. And I'll end up right in there. That's where Truchas Lakes is. Here's some more of that plane wreckage. I'm gonna have to look this up, find out if there's any information about it online or whatever. The aster are looking lovely today. Okay, after hiking on the trail for a while, I've come out to this scree field of quartz. And this is the last cairn right here. And I was looking around, and I cannot seem to find another cairn anywhere until finally I looked through the trees there. Okay, I think I'm finally to the end of this huge rubble field of white quartz. Pretty unique. There is one heck of a view from up here, let me tell you. Absolutely stunning. Here is a pretty nice view of the entire ridge that I've hiked so far. And I came from just below the highest peak in the back, which is Elk Mountain. Looking at it now, it's got to be 10-15 miles already since I started. Sure love this view. This is just beautiful. Again, looking down into the plains. Over Mora in this direction. Rosiata in this direction. And the city of Las Vegas is way in the distance behind that last hill there. Amazing. Okay, now I'm just kind of following this meadow area up the hill. There's an occasional cairn like that one there, but they're few and far between. You certainly can't see one from the other. It's just a matter of following the cliffside and the meadow, and that's over towards the plains that way. Here's the place I find myself in now. It's a huge meadow. And I think that ridgeline is where I want to be, where the trail is, according to the map. So I've been off the trail for a while, probably. So that's where I'm going. I finally found water, but it's just an elk wallow. And it looks like it's been freshly used, too. Don't think I'm drinking out of there. Oh, I think I see a signpost off in the distance. It's been about a mile at least since I've seen anything. Here is the intersection I'm at. Elk Mountain's that way, so I need to go that way. And where is the cairn here? And again, I'm not seeing it. I'm just going to have to follow the direction of the sign. Alright, there's where I just came from. As you can see, there's nothing out there. There's no trail markers. I was just walking through nothing. This is where I'm going. That looks like the trail over there. I don't know if you can see that big stick sticking out there. That's the trail, I believe. I think that's a cairn with a big stick in the middle of it. Oh my gosh, finally something that resembles a trail. I can't believe it. Oh man, I still have to be careful. I got off the trail again, but I saw this cairn, luckily. There was a better used cow trail, and I started following that as the main trail, and then I saw the cairn off to the side, and I was like, whoops, that's not the trail. Holy cow. It's been like this all day. It's been hard to follow. Whew. It's been an adventure though. Here's a trail sign that's down in the middle of the meadow. I came from over there where that big rock pile is, and I can't read it at all. It's like it's been sandblasted. So I'm not sure what to do. I'm going to look at the map again. So I don't think this is it. I need to keep going towards that post over there. This might be a cutoff route to Enchantment Lake or something, but it's not an actual trail on the map. So I'm going to stay away from going there and keep on going to Santiago Lake. I need to cross another clump of trees and then hit another meadow, and the trail junction is in the meadow, so that's where I'm heading. Did I tell you that I'm at almost 12,000 feet here too? This is the dead forest of spruce beetle kill here. Alright, I am now entering the next big open area. Woohoo, I'm so happy about that. Now where? Where the hell do I go from here? I'm gonna hang out here and think about it a while. Alright, I see what looks like a signpost up on the hill there, but I think I actually turn off before then, right before that hill, to get to the lake, so I'm gonna head in that direction there. It looks like I'll be encountering some bighorn sheep on the way down to Santiago Lake. That looks like a salt lake or something right there where they're all gathering. Some marshes there, and that's Santiago Lake. But that's pretty cool to see some bighorn sheep. Right down the way I'm going too. So, here I go. It's a pretty good horn on that one. On the way down to the lake, I found a cold, clear spring coming right out of the mountain. So I'm filling up here. I think I'll camp near here too. I'm getting tired. I probably won't make it all the way down to the lake, but that's okay. It didn't look like much from up above anyway. Whew. Just as I finished getting water, that's when the skies opened up and it started raining. I only had maybe a couple hundred yards to go to get to camp, but in the process of doing that and setting up camp, I got a little wet. It's okay though, I got my tarp up and I got my tent up. Everything's pretty much dry. The tent's a little wet inside from setting it up in the rain. I'm a little worried about that because my clothes and stuff are in there too. I'm worried about them picking up the moisture, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. And I've got my sleeping bag on top of my mattress pad, so it's not going to get wet. Anyway, that's what's going on. Alright, I've finally taken refuge in my tent. It's just nasty out there. This storm's been going on for a long time and it doesn't seem to be quitting. So, I was getting a little cold, so I'm getting in my sleeping bag and warming up. I did cook dinner under the tarp. Made a tuna and potato and ramen, ramen bomb, I guess. And it was alright. Lots of calories, I needed that. Worked hard today to get here. And I have a long climb, or a hard climb up the hill tomorrow, and probably a long day tomorrow to get to True Chest Lakes, if that happens. I may take a day to dry out my stuff, we'll see. But anyway, that's what's going on here. If you don't hear me anymore tonight, I wish you a good night, and I'll see you in the morning. Whew, I don't know how strong these winds are, but these gusts are almost strong enough to blow the tent over. Let's see if I can capture one for you here. I hear something coming. Look at this, is my sleeping bag. That's the ridgepole up there. It's like blowing over to the side. Whoa, see, there it is. Ah, it's falling down flat on me. Oh my god. That's the worst one yet. Whew. This tent's taking a beating. Here are the beginnings of the sunrise, just outside of camp. We're looking down out over the plains. Spectacular. I've got my coffee water boiling there. Sunrise coming up through the trees. Alright, let's get a pan shot of this beautiful cirque that I'm in here. Can you believe I hiked down that yesterday? Just on bighorn sheep trails with a 50-pound pack. God, what an adventure I had yesterday. It started out with just the trail, just trying to find the trail, or stay on the trail, I should say. Because there really wasn't a trail per se, just kind of a cleared path to follow. Yeah, I just had to pick up signs to follow the trail, cut limbs, cut logs, old cut trees, you know, things like that. There really wasn't a trail at all for most of it. And then there's a 2-mile stretch that was just across meadow with no cairns or anything. Just kind of had to use my wits and stay on course. And then I got down here, it started to rain, I got all wet, putting up my tent. I ran out of water, had a dehydration headache. After the rainstorm was a windstorm. It was just one thing after another. But you know, that's what makes the tales better when you get back. Oh, and I may have forgotten to mention, good morning. Today is Monday, September 2nd, and day 3 of my little adventure. Check this out. This is where I was cooking my breakfast this morning. And it was still kind of dark, I couldn't really see. I just knew I had a flat rock to cook on. But look at here. These are fossils, like clamshell fossils, in the rock at nearly 12,000 feet. I'm at 11,800 feet a little bit lower. I dropped down a bit, but say 11,400 feet. Man, this got pushed up all the way from sea level, from below the sea. Nature's pretty amazing. I wonder how old this rock is. Pretty cool. Look at that. The true sunrise now. Wow, I didn't know it was coming up right there. Oh, I wish I had enough footage to set up a time lapse. Would have been beautiful. It's still beautiful. Yeah, this turned out to be a pretty cool little place to camp. Here's a quick look at the ponds just below the camp with the sun rising. Unfortunately, it looks like the spruce beetles have found the trees across the way. Kind of pretty in the morning sun, but yeah, they're all dead. Hopefully those small ones will survive. See this cute little bugger right here? He's taking pleasure in dropping stuff on my stuff, which is right below. See? So this morning I was exploring around a little bit, and I found what must be the trail down to the actual lake. And look what I found. An old cabin. It's about ready to fall down, it looks like. Must be old. Who knows how old it is. You never know what you're going to find out here in places like this. It's kind of pretty in its own historic way. Some pretty wildflowers around here too. And now it's time for me to go. Whew. It seems like it's taken hours for me to get ready this morning, but I'm finally on my way. It's probably only 8 o'clock or something like that because I got going early. But I took my time packing up and that sort of thing, and I had to go make a water run to the spring, which is about a quarter mile away. And I'm done with that, and I'm about ready to head up the mountain this way and continue on my journey. But first, let's take a look at the views here. Here's the part of the mountain I climbed down yesterday. As you can see, it's super steep. I was just on sheep trails. In fact, the bighorn sheep were right about there. But just look at the views down in the valley there. Way out into the plains. The city right over there that you see is Mora. And this is just breathtakingly beautiful. But alas, I need to go and continue on my journey and see more beautiful places. And I don't know if you can see kind of that path going up the hill there. That's where I'm heading. I could see it from the other side of the mountain. I think that's the main trail. Here I go. Okay, I'm making good progress on this better trail. Glad I decided to go this way. But I can't help but be distracted by the view here. Look at how vast those plains are. It's just like an ocean. And down there, that was my camp. Pretty cool little spot. Okay, I can see the main lake there. I was closer to it than I thought. But still, if I had gone down there, I would have had to just go right back up. And it looks kind of marshy and boggy, shallow. My guess is there's no fish anyway. So, glad I stayed up here. Now I see another pond down there too. I didn't even know that one was there. I did look at the aerial photos, so I probably saw it before and just forgot about it. Or not aerial photos, but Google Earth. But man, look at that vista. I bet I can see 100, maybe 150 miles out into the plains. That's just incredible. You can pretty much see the curvature of the earth. Outstanding. I found a sign, I found a sign. And it tells me absolutely nothing. Oh well. Alright, I'm almost to the top of the mountain above the lake basin I just camped in. And from here, behind me, I can see all the way to Wheeler Peak in the Taos Mountains. And God, the view back towards the plains is just incredible. This is a pretty sweet area. Alright, that sign that I saw yesterday is up on top of this mountain, so I'm going to keep going. Yay, I made it to that big signpost that I saw from miles away. Well, maybe not that far. But I'm at, looks like the place where the Skyline Trail turns and starts heading west. So, basically, I'm going to be following this ridge line towards Truchas Peaks there. So, without further ado, here I go. Okay, again, that mountain in the distance is Elk Mountain, where I started, and I've hiked this entire way that, or Cibola Peak, that I hiked over, and according to the map, that's 14.5 miles from Elk Mountain. And I've gone a couple more miles, so I'm about the 16-mile mark. Plus, I'm gonna say I hiked another mile at least down to the lake and back. So that's where my mileage stands right now. And I think I see another cairn in direct line with that peak. That's Truchas Peak, actually. So I'm gonna head that direction. Okay, the cairns up here had kind of all fallen over, so I'm restacking them as I go by. And this post was about ready to fall over. The rocks had fallen away from it and that sort of thing. And as I was pulling the rocks back up around it, I noticed a little elk tooth in there somebody had stashed. Kind of funny. I'm just going to put it on top there. Whew, I just replaced another post here that had fallen. And I can see way on the horizon that signpost I first started from here. But just to let people know, this is not a trail. This is like a cross-country route through alpine, tundra, more than a trail. So just keep that in mind. It's not easy. Alright folks, I've made it over the next rise where I can see the next segment of trail I'll be taking. Oh, and one more thing. If you look past East Pecos Baldy, you can see Santa Fe Baldy, which is where Lake Catherine is, and that's on the trail. And then further way out there, let me see if I can zoom in here, hang on. Way out there is Lake Peak, is the tallest one. The one just to the left is Penitente Peak, and the trail actually goes over that peak and Lake Peak and then finishes up at the ski basin where the radio towers are, just on the other side of those two peaks. So still got a lot of trail to go. It's gonna be beautiful. I have made it to Trail Sweet Trail again. Haha. I just crossed all of that. Ooh, you can see the last post up there on the horizon. Pretty cool views from up there. I'm gonna miss it. But let's see what views are ahead. Okay, here is my next trail junction. It says the Skyline Trail goes up this way. I see nothing. No sign of a trail. Where do I go from here? I guess I just go through the grass again. Alright, here's the next trail marker. This was in the direction it showed on the map, but that sign did not point anywhere near this direction, so I wish they wouldn't have put it facing that way. It looks like I see another marker down there. I didn't notice that one. That might be this trail sign too, but this was the direction I should have come. In fact, I went straight up the tree line there and wandered around looking in there for a trail and never found one. And I looked at the map, and anyway, the map showed the trail going up this ridge, so I looked up here and then finally found this one after hiking a little ways. It is time now to continue. Alright, I believe this is the start of where the Skyline Trail really gets its name. This is like the roof of the Pecos Wilderness right here. Whew! Sorry about the heavy breathing. Climbing up this ridge is a lot of work. But there's the headwaters of the Pecos River. That's really pretty down there. I'm gonna have to explore that one of these days. And that's the ridge I hiked in on, all the way on the background there. Wow. This is pretty much the whole Pecos Wilderness except, I don't know, a 25,000 acre chunk of the north side. Alright, I'm just guessing, but I think that's Hickory Peak right in front of us there. And I'll have to check the map to see what drainage that is. Beautiful though. And then this is the Pecos skyline. I'm going to be following to those larger peaks in the back. God, I hope I have enough time before it starts raining today. I made it to the top of a little mountain here. It's starting to cloud up on me. There's a marmot. That's a little better. Chirping his little tail off. Let me just show you where I'm walking here, because this is a pretty cool place to hike. They have some strange looking thistles around here. Man, I gotta tell you, that's a lot of acres of dead spruce. I'm really bummed that this happened here too, like it did in Colorado. Man, such a shame. This is a pretty cool alpine basin up here below me. There's a lake, a big old meadow out on the other side. And it just goes all down. Too bad all the trees are dead, but it's beautiful. I can't believe there's still snow here in September. This is September 2nd. Amazing. Alright, there seems to be a storm brewing now. And I want to get off this mountain and down into those trees probably, where it's a little flatter there, and set up camp just in case. Doesn't look like I'm going to make it to Truchas Lakes today. I still have to go all the way over that ridge and around Chimayosos Peak and then down to Truchas Lakes. Sorry I didn't shoot much from the mountain up there. I heard some thunder rumbling and I want to get off the mountain. Oh, speaking of which, so I'm just going to go down there to the other side of that saddle where the trees are and make camp there and use what water I have. Wow, this looks like quite the trail junction coming up. Let's see what all these signs say. We've got this one, T36. What the heck? Okay, so let's check out the actual trail junction. Okay, this might be the Santa Barbara Divide. That sign's a little messed up. We've got Santa Barbara Campground is 12. And Skyline Trail, Truchas Lakes. Looks like somebody carved in 4 miles. And Jicarita Peak. That might have been the one behind it, or no, it's further behind us. But anyway, I'm going to be continuing that way, but because it looks like it's going to storm, I'm going to try to set up camp right in these trees here. As it turns out, I think I made a pretty sound decision to stop hiking and take cover. There's thunder rumbling on both sides of me, including the direction I was headed in, so walking above timberline in a lightning storm, not my cup of tea. I think I'll hang out here a while. And I'll just mosey on over to Truchas Lakes tomorrow. The only bad part about that is water. I don't have any water here. I still have 1.5 liters, and that's going to have to do me until I get to Truchas Lakes. But anyway, I think things are going pretty well. I was thinking about doing a 0 at Truchas Lakes anyway, so I'll just not do a 0 and make this my 0 and go to Truchas Lakes tomorrow. And everything will still go as planned. Check it out. There's a bunch of little beetles on my tarp here. And I think I know what they are. I think they're a type of Dendroctonus species. That's the spruce beetle. This is what's killing all the spruce trees. Yeah, I'd definitely say that I made a wise move to hunker down. I beat the storm, got everything set up, including the bear rope and that sort of thing. So I'm really happy. You can probably hear that in the background, it was pretty close. But yeah, life is good. I'm just gonna take a nap until dinner. I'll see you around dinner time. Alright, as you can see, it's still pretty cloudy out. But the rain has eased up. I got solid rained on for a good 2 hours. There's still some hail next to the tarp over there where it accumulated. It was a pretty impressive little storm. Quite a few Perry's bellflower here right next to camp. There's also quite a bit of yarrow. Look at this elk. Oh my god, look at that. He just came up to my camp. Beautiful animal. Whoa, and he's gone. Holy cow. Okay, they're coming back out into the open again. There's a couple of them there. There's 3 of them. They see me, I'm pretty sure. They're looking right at me. God, I'm really enjoying the wildlife viewing out here. Okay, I was standing here watching the elk, and I turned around, and I don't know if you can see them yet. There they are. Deer? one's a buck, isn't it? Okay, let me turn back around and see if the elk are still there. Okay, the elk are still there. So I'm like surrounded by wildlife here. There's a whole herd of elk on there. That's pretty cool. Wonder where that big bull went. Okay, back over to the deer side. They've seen me and are running off. Whoa, I'm glad I camped here. Sometimes it pays to camp off the beaten track. There's another big bull up on the hillside up there. I heard him bugling. Man, this place is just hopping tonight. My God, they're closer now. The one up on the hill is bugling to one down here. Maybe that'd be that little bull coming down the rocks there. They make a lot of weird sounds. There's elk all over down there. Two of them just got really close and saw me. Doesn't look like they ran very far, and the rest aren't running. Oh wait, I hear something. There they go. I knew I'd start a stampede. Holy cow, I didn't even see all those. Jeez, and there's another herd of them up there. More down there. There's one out there. There's one up on the hill that's making that noise. There's the bull again. Pretty incredible. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's the bull up on the hill. I think that's the other bull that was bugling from up high. Yeah, this guy's spoiling for a fight. Looks like the sun's going down. It's a pretty sky right now. And look at the light coming through on the mountain here. Just beautiful. Life is good at 12,000 feet. And those two bulls are bugling back and forth. And I think they're headed towards one another, and they're going to meet right in the middle down there somewhere. I'm just going to hang out here for a little while to see if I can catch the action. Look at the light on the distant mountains. It's kind of pretty. I don't know where these guys came from. They were just right below me. Alright folks, the sun's going down and I'm starting to get cold. But it was sure fun watching all the elk today. What can I say? It wasn't as much of an adventure as it was yesterday, but the natural beauty was sure there. And I love watching the wildlife. Anyway, this is the end of day 3, and I will see you in the morning. Good morning, everybody. It's day 4, Tuesday, September 3rd. And we have a beautiful orange glow on the horizon again. Getting an early start, and there's a real trail to follow now. Makes it a little easier. And down there is where I camped last night. That's the Rio Santa Barbara drainage on my right. The Pecos River drainage on my left. That's an odd looking burl. Oh, I gotta tell you, it's so nice to have a real trail again. There's where I'm going. Getting closer. Another sprawling basin. In the far background there is Hickorita Peak. It's about 12,800 feet, and it's the end of the north end of the Pecos Wilderness. And to the south we can see Trail Rider's Wall through the trees there. East Pecos Baldy behind it. This is the Pecos River drainage. In the background, that's Elk Mountain where I started, and I hiked that whole ridgeline to the east. Chimayosos Peak in the foreground, the east face. And I'm still heading towards Truchas Peak. Alright, just below Chimayosos Peak. Another one of the highest peaks. And I've also got another view of another branch of the Rio Santa Barbara Basin. Here is the view of that basin. That's actually pretty spectacular down there. Here's a little glimpse of the mountain behind me. I just rounded on the right hand side there. That trail going up I think is just a wildlife trail. Alright, Beatty's Trail junction here, and I'm going towards Truchas Peak. And I just saw the second other person that I've seen in the past 4 days. And the Beatty's Trail continues up this way in a weird trail junction. Huh. That must go over to the other part of the Santa Barbara Divide. Man, I'm making great time. Look at that view of Trail Rider's Wall, Truchas Peaks, and I'm almost there. I'm heading right between the mountains, about right there, center screen. Another trail junction. Check it out. Water. This is the first creek that I've passed in probably 20 miles at least. Oh, I'd fill up here if I weren't almost to the lakes. Another stream. I'm back to where there's water, baby. Yay. I'm within 200 feet of the lake. Woohoo. Welcome to Truchas Lake. This is the first time I've seen this lake in nice weather. Hey everybody. So I've got camp pretty much set up at Truchas Lake, and I even made a pot of coffee because I didn't have enough water this morning to make coffee, and I was kind of jonesing for it, so I'm glad I got that done. And things are going well. Things are dried out. Everything was soaked yesterday, and I was carrying it. I just dropped my peanut butter. I was just carrying it all wet until I got to camp here. Anyway, that's what's going on. I'll keep you posted if I see any bighorn sheep or anything. There are a ton of ravens just flying around the mountain right now. I don't know if you can even see them in here, but they're all over the place there. Cute little fuzzy marmot. I wasn't going to take any more video, but he's so stinking cute. So, I don't know if you guys watch Outdoor Adventures with Frozen, YouTube channel. Good channel to watch. I highly recommend it. He just completed the Appalachian Trail, excuse me. But on one of his videos, he said buffalo tuna creations, buffalo style hot sauce on tortilla, just a tuna wrap, is one of his favorite meals on the trail. So here I am trying it. Let me take another bite. I didn't quite get enough. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'd recommend that. Thanks, Frozen. Well, I decided to eat my second dinner by the lake. That way I can just wash dishes as soon as I'm done. And it's kind of pretty here too. Thank God the weather's holding. That gives me the opportunity to have something I haven't had on this trip yet. Finally, on day 4, I can have a fire. Oh man. Oh my God, that lifts my spirits. Whew. Heck yeah. Oh, I'm a happy camper now. Alright. It's a nice quiet night at the lake. I'm the only one here at both lakes, actually. I've got them to myself. Whew. Got the smoke to myself too. But anyway, like I say, it's a quiet night and it's going to be a long day tomorrow, so as soon as the sun goes down, I'm going to bed. It's going to be 12 miles down to Horse Thief Meadow. I looked on the description in the trail section of the map, and it's 12 miles from here, so I want to get it done. If I make it down there, then it should be easy to complete the rest of the trip. So that's the game plan, and I will catch you in the morning. Have a good night, everyone. Good morning, sunrise. Today is Wednesday, September 4th. Day 5 of my little adventure. Alright, folks. It's about 9:30 probably, I'm guessing, by where the sun is in the sky. If it rises at 6:30. A little later than I wanted to leave, but that's alright. I was meticulous in my packing and preparation. I made sure to drink a liter of water before I left, so I'm well hydrated, and I'm ready to hit the road now, so it's time to go. Goodbye, Truchas Lakes. Okay, I've gone down a quarter mile from the lakes, and there's a unused trail junction here now. I say unused because they say that that trail is not maintained anymore, and so on and so forth. But there's a real nice campsite right here. I think I know some people who camped here a little while ago. I must be in the Pecos Triangle again. I'm always finding weird things on the trail. Gear lost and abandoned stuff. It's unusual, I think. But here's a sleeping bag. An Everest Elite by Slumberjack. It's probably a really nice bag. I can't pack it out, or I would. But if you lost your sleeping bag, it's here on a stump about half mile from Truchas Lakes. This is always one of my favorite spots on the trail. The view of the peak, and just look at this crystal clear spring-fed pond. I'm sure you could drink that water straight. It comes right out of the mountain right here. Beautiful. Alright, folks. Humping it down the trail, trying to do 3 miles an hour, which isn't easy at this altitude and this terrain. But I'd like to make it to my camp by about 1:30 in case there are storms again. So let's see how I do. Man, I was hiking real hard, watching my step on the trail, and then all of a sudden I look up and there's a whole little herd of bighorn sheep right here, right beside me. I didn't even see them. They were so quiet. Oh my gosh. Pretty amazing. They're cute. There were a lot of avalanches here this winter. My camp was in a debris field from an avalanche, and here's another one. All the tops of trees that were broken off by the snow falling from up there. The next trail junction. That doesn't look like a very well-used trail, but I'm happy because this signals the approach to Trail Riders Wall. And Trail Riders Wall is probably my favorite segment of trail in the Pecos Wilderness. Last time I was here, I said it left a permanent mark on my psyche and that I'd be here again. Well, here I am. Even here in September, there's quite a fine selection of wildflowers on this hillside. Another example of the wildflower display. Alright, here comes Trail Rider's Wall. And that's East Pecos Baldy behind it. Alright, here is the next trail junction. And I'm heading towards Pecos Baldy Lake. And that's Truchas Peaks in the background, of course. Chimiosis Peak. I hiked around that guy yesterday. I was looking out over this drainage, how immaculate and pristine it is, and I'm just glad that the spruce beetles haven't reached here yet, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time. Here is the view from the top of Trail Rider's Wall towards Truchas Peaks and Chimiosis Peak, the direction I just came from. It's stunning. I've got to tell you, I find myself stopping and just gawking at the views. Look at that, I can see all the way down into the Rio Grande Valley from here. Check this out, see that? That's probably Espanola down there. And then as we continue to pan toward the south, again East Pecos Baldy, and the very top of Trail Rider's Wall. I think I've decided to miss that portion of the trail and take a little side trip to a little pass. It just loops back around to this trail anyway. But I've never been on it before, and I've been on this trail, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, Elk Mountain's about to go out of view, so I decided to go ahead and give you a pan shot of the whole ridge that I hiked across the way there. About right there is where I found the plane wreck, and then I continued on to Cibola Peak, and then I hiked that whole ridge line over to Truchas Lakes over there, and now I'm here. Okay, I think this is the cutoff trail that I want. So I'm going to diverge from the Skyline Trail for a little bit. It goes on up there. I'm kind of bummed because that's the best view of Trail Rider's Wall. But maybe I can get it if I walk over to the edge here. Spectacular! Okay, it looks like the trail's going right through there. And it's going to go over to that kind of saddle, it looks like, right in front of Pecos Baldy, and then down to the lake. Nice views from here, too. That's the direction I'm going in. That's the Rio and Medio drainage down to Borrego Mesa, I believe. And here is Truchas Peaks and Chimiosis. And here's the view in front of me, the trail to the pass. Pretty awesome. Holy crap, this is a little sketchier than I thought it was going to be. This trail is no joke sketchy, man. This is where I just came from. It's all loose scree, and man, one bad step and you're down the mountain. Oh, I can't even look as I turn the camera. Whew! A little adventure this morning. Now that I'm through the bad part, I can show you what I'm doing in real time. It's still sketchy, but not nearly as bad. There's the view of Pecos Lake. And over on the other side, I'm going to get my last view of the Churches area. And I got to find the trail. I can't find it anymore. Pecos Lake, everybody. And East Pecos Baldy. Quick view further back of Pecos Lake. Alright, now I'm back to the Skyline Trail after my short diversion. I should have stayed on the Skyline Trail, it would have been easier to hike. But this was a fun route actually, so glad I did it. I'm going to take a break now, have lunch. There's clouds starting to build, as you can see. So I'm going to watch to see how quickly they're building before I make a decision whether to move on from here. Ah, man, I just had a wonderful break here at East Pecos Lake. There's clouds building, but they don't look too bad yet. I think the weather pattern's following the same pattern as yesterday. So I'm going to risk it, and this is a big risk, of continuing on to Horse Thief Meadow. Because if they do break out into a storm, I don't have any cover because I'm going through, I believe it's the Horoso fire, the old burn there, and I don't even know if the trail's open, to tell you the truth, if it's cleared. A couple years ago when I talked to a couple kids that came through there, they said there was down logs everywhere, they could barely find their way. If they didn't have GPS, they wouldn't have been able to find the trail. So we'll see. I called the Forest Service office before taking the hike, and they said it was all the trails are open. So, but there might be down logs. So I'll just have to risk it. The other way is quite a ways around. You almost have to go down to a trailhead and then back up to Panchuela. So I'm gonna head up over the saddle behind me, hit Horse Thief Meadow next. I'm climbing up a steep trail through lush forest, and I'm surprised to see there's still larkspur in bloom. Okay, this is a beautiful old-growth spruce forest through here. I'm going to definitely take this picture before it's gone and the spruce beetles kill everything. Beautiful, vibrant paintbrushes. Alright, I'm at the top of the pass, and there's a view of Pecos Lake again. Here's East Pecos Baldy. There is a trail that goes up that starts from here, but I'm not going to take it. I'm worried about getting through the fire burn area before it rains, so here I go. Oh my god, this grouse scared the crap out of me. Do you see her there? She must have babies around here somewhere. She's sticking around. There's another one. Right there. Whoa. Well, that one is a baby. That other one that's cooing is the mama. Here comes the baby across the trail. Hang on. There she goes. Huh. So cute. I gotta keep going. Whew, I just scared up a huge herd of elk. I didn't get any footage of it though because they were in dense forest and I couldn't get my camera out quite fast enough. I probably could have toward the end, but it would have been a poor shot. So, but it's nice to know they're out here. Okay, here's the edge of the burn. This is the area I'm concerned about. That's why the elk were here, I guess. They're probably feeding out in the burn where there's more vegetation to eat. Let's give it a shot. Here's the trail I'm hiking through. Look how tall these plants are through here. And look at all the grass on the hillside. No wonder the elk love it in here. And not all the trees died. Some people seem to think that fires are a bad thing. But you know what? These trees, these plants, the wildlife here, they all evolved with fire as part of the ecology of the environment. So in other words, these forests need fire in order to recycle nutrients. Anyway, the reason the plants are growing so well here is most likely potassium. The word potassium comes from potash, I believe. When it's put in the soil, it's good for plants. It's one of the primary nutrients in the soil, NPK. So that's why it's so good for the forest. The next trail junction, Rito Perro Trail, goes back to Jack's Creek, which then again goes around and merges with, makes a loop around and merges with Pecos Baldy Lake. And I am taking the Skyline Trail, of course, which the arrow says goes this way, but I think that's actually the trail. Aspen are usually the first trees to take over after a big burn. That's like the second step of forest succession. I'm seeing some dark clouds closing in around me. I just hope I get out of the fire scar before they hit. Man, I'm getting some real close lightning activity and I gotta go around another ridge. I'm near a creek, Penchuela Creek, but I don't see any campsites around here. There's too many down logs and it's just a mess. So, and I guess I'm just gonna take a risk and keep going. Whew! I just hiked through all that from those mountains there. Crazy. I just had to show you all these flowers. This is pretty. I was in such a hurry to get my tent up. I set up next to a marsh here with a log right by the opening. I did a good job with the tarp setup. It's one of my better, prettier setups. I got water filtered. I ate dinner already. After I'd gone down to the water hole a few times, I'd noticed something up above it. And let me just zoom in for you. That thing has hundreds of bees going in and out of it. It's amazing. Maybe the worst campsite choice ever. Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, September 5th, day 6 of our adventure. And I am at Horse Thief Meadows, and we're going to hike to Johnson Lake today. A little bit of frost on the meadow this morning. It got down to 30 degrees according to my thermometer. I'm glad I wasn't camping at 12,000 feet tonight. I'm right here at about 10,000 feet. The lowest point on the trail, just under 10,000 feet actually. And looking forward to the sun. reaching camp. It looks like it's just about at the tree line over there. And as you can see, there was so much dew on the tent, it looks like it rained. That's not rain, that's just dew. So, I guess I'm going to wait around and hope things dry out a little bit before I pack them. I don't want to pack a bunch of wet, heavy gear up the hill. See all those white marks on my tarp? That's all damage from the windstorm that I went through at Santiago Lake. It kind of delaminated the tarp. I don't know how waterproof it is anymore, honestly. Hello everybody. Well, I got camp packed up and I'm back on the trail, heading up to Lake Johnson, and I'm guessing it's going to take about 4 hours. It's about 6 miles, but it's 2,000 feet of elevation gain, so I'm just going to take it slow uphill, get there, I don't know, around 1 o'clock or so, and then kind of do what I did at Truchas Lakes. Have a relaxing day, maybe do a little bit of fishing. So, we'll see how the day goes. Yeah, this looks like the main part of Horse Thief Meadow. And if I would have just hiked a little further, I would have found some good campsites in the trees there. That wasn't my best move last night, but sometimes you're in a hurry, things just happen. Alright, after about a quarter to a half a mile, I've made it to my next trail junction, and I'm heading across Horse Thief Creek and up and over a small pass. So I crossed the creek and I saw a pretty heavy use trail going up the creek, so I took a look and there's a beautiful campsite up here. It would have been a great place. Man, if I only had a little more patience. I'm in heavy, lush spruce timber, and you can barely see the trail through the cow parsnip. Pretty cool berries, although I doubt they're edible. Usually red ones are poisonous. There's a beautiful goshawk flying around up here. Look at that. I hope I'm catching him on film. Okay, I've climbed up on top of the ridge that I was talking about before, and I find myself in a mixed spruce and aspen stand. Very big aspens, very pretty. But there are a lot of bees, and let me tell you what I'm talking about, or show you what I'm talking about. Can you see all those just flying around, those little aspens right there? And they're hovering around the forest floor, and God, I hope it's not like this at Lake Johnson. We'll see. I like the top of this ridge. This is some of the best overall hiking yet, just because it's pretty, and look how smooth that trail is. Man, I've been dealing with such rocky trail. Such a relief. Here's maybe a little better look at that meadow that I'm passing. Beautiful aspens on the far side. I like this. Wow, look at this nice new signpost here at the trail junction. Love it. Thanks, guys. And back down that way is Cave Creek. I have hiked that. In fact, my son caught his first fish, his first trout on Cave Creek. And I'm going to cross Cave Creek now and head that way. Man, I was getting out the camera, getting ready to show you this excellent culvert on the trail. Really nice trail construction work here. I don't know how they got that big old culvert in here, probably on horseback or whatever, but anyway, right from in those logs right there, a whole covey of grouse just exploded into the air and scared the crap out of me. There must have been, I don't know, 10, 15 grouse, and then there's still one right up on this branch up here. Let me see if I can capture him or not. Can you see him? I can't tell in the viewfinder if I'm getting him or not, but he's in there. The last thimbleberry. I squished it, but it's good. I just saw dozens of bees flying around that log. I think there's a nest there. I've got to be real careful walking by there. They already look stirred up. Man, I hate it when the bees are this thick in the forest. I made it. Here's the backside of the log. Whew. A little scary for me. There's really some extraordinary trail construction here, like this bridge. And I saw on one switchback it was dug way out in the ground, almost like a real road or something. Very interesting. These red berries are really pretty. But I wouldn't go near them. Look at all the bees flying around. Alright, I think the time is around 11, maybe 11:30. Now that I've arrived at the trail junction to Johnson Lake. So now I'm going to make a little side trip off the Skyline Trail. Along the trail I can see a pretty meadow through the woods, and the trail is surrounded by flowers, which I always like. Beautiful. Wild raspberries. Nice, I'm going to have a little snack. Finally, after a long zigzagging trail, I've made it to the lake. It's a pretty lake, and I've already seen some nice sized trout swimming around in the water, so I'm very optimistic that I'm going to enjoy this location. Let's find a campsite. I think this location will do just fine. Do you ever get to places that just feel like home? That's how this place feels to me. Have you guys ever seen red needles used as fire starter before? Yeah, check this out. These are almost still a little too green. Just like that, the best natural fire starter. Alright, so the fishing here kind of sucks, so I wouldn't recommend anybody go here but me. This is dinner. Now I don't feel so bad about packing the fishing gear and pack grill for 20 some odd, or no, 30 some odd miles now. More than that. Almost 40 miles. But anyway, here's my fishies. Nice pink meat, they're going to be good. And these fish are cut bows. They're a cross between rainbow trout and cutthroat trout. Alright, I didn't pack any seasonings for the fish. My bad. I didn't want to pack the extra weight. So what I did was I decided to come up with my own little recipe, and I call it fish and ramen stew. I've got the fish, I've got a little bit of that summer sausage, and ramen. Let's give it a taste, shall we? Oh, let me show it to you first, I guess. Can you see that in there? Okay. Oh, I'm starving. Let's try this out. It's good. That works. Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, September 6th already. That means I only have one day left to go. So anyway, the plan for today is to head to Spirit Lake, which isn't too far. It should be an easy hike. And I've got a lot of downhill from the lake here. I'm looking forward to today because I am going to purposely get a later start. I'm going to do some fishing this morning, hopefully eat some more fish, and enjoy this lovely area right here that I'm really having a good time in. So, without further ado, I'm going to drink my coffee. Alright folks, I didn't have much luck fishing this morning. These fish seem to be nighttime feeders, which is unusual. I usually have better luck trout fishing in the mornings, but they weren't rising and didn't seem to be very interested in anything I threw at them. So, I think it's time to slowly pack up and just kind of relax, take my time, and start heading to Spirit Lake. I can't believe tonight is my last night in the woods. As usual, I'm gonna miss it. But I'm also looking forward to getting home, so that'll be nice too. But anyway, without delaying and rambling on, let's get packed up. Well, after a great night's stay, it's finally time for me to say goodbye to my little campground here. Goodbye, campground. This is a good place. I'll be back to this lake for sure. Probably as early as next year. The plan for today's hike is to just go a few miles to Stuart Lake and stop and take a break there. And then do the remaining, I think, 3 miles or so to Spirit Lake. So probably overall maybe 6 miles at the most. Should be a fairly easy day. So I will see you folks later. Goodbye from Lake Johnson. Okay, I'm back to the trail junction with the Skyline Trail. So I'm back on track now. Next stop will be, or not stop, but next sites will be a couple of really pretty meadows on the way to Stuart Lake. Through this area of thinning forest, you can see Pecos Baldy Peak, the fire that I hiked through, and Truchas Peaks to the way back. That log looked like a bear when I first saw it. Here is the first of the very large meadows on the way to Stuart Lake. Alright, I've arrived at the junction with the Windsor Ridge Trail, which I've hiked many times. And somebody wrote in it's 1 mile to Stuart Lake. And it is that-a-way. Let's hit it. Alright, I know this is a bad joke, but you'd better respect your elderberries. Okay, this is the next meadow, and I forgot to mention there's a nice little pond in the meadow, and a nice campsite here too, and it's very close to Stuart Lake, so if the campsites, which they often are all filled up at Stuart Lake, this is another option. Another cool trail bridge. This one looks brand spanking new. Nice work, guys. This looks great. And it's right by the pond. We must be at Stewart Lake already. They even rebuilt the bridge over the outlet stream here at Stewart Lake and even stained it. Very nice. Thanks, guys. And here we are once again at Stewart Lake. I've been here a time or two, or 3 or 4. Okay, I decided to keep going past the lake because there's clouds building up behind me and I don't want to get stuck in a storm before I get to my destination. And I have to get to my destination today because that's where I want to take off to finish the trail tomorrow. So it's pretty important. Okay, here is the next trail intersection. Sorry about that, there's a bee flying in my ear. Here is the next trail intersection where the Windsor and the Skyline Trail merge. And you may recall this is the stream crossing where Ian froze his feet earlier this year. So I've already been up this trail, but here I go again. There's a few switchbacks before it flattens out, before the trails part ways. And I'm actually going to be taking the Windsor Trail instead of the Skyline Trail to Spirit Lake, because I think it's just a better way to go, and I've already been to Lake Catherine this year, so in fact it was less than a month ago. So off to Spirit Lake I go. Okay, I believe this is the final trail junction for the day. And I'm not taking the Skyline Trail towards Lake Catherine this time, I'm taking the Windsor Trail towards Spirit Lake, which is that way. One last milestone, here's Windsor Creek, and here's the trail crossing towards Spirit Lake. Let me just point out that past here I have not been on this little tiny section of trail, so covering new ground. Woohoo! Here's the sign. I've made it to my last destination before my final destination. Here is Spirit Lake. Okay, there's probably some nicer campsites here, but I chose this one because it's further back from the lake and it has kind of a nice fire pit and a nice flat spot to set my tent up. Okay, I got the camp chores done. Firewood collected, tarp set up. It's a pretty nice setup this time. I can stand under that, which is kind of nice. And I've got the fire ready to go. I think I'm going to go ahead and start it in order to have lunch, because it looks like it's clouding up and it might rain. It'd be nice to get it started before it rains. So, and I'm just going to kind of hang out by the fire today and relax for my last night anyway. One thing about this lake is there's no fish. There's only salamanders, so that's kind of a bummer. But let's start the fire. Remember what I said about red needles. The best fire starter. Nice. I think one of the things I wanted most was a nice campfire for my last night. Looks like I'm gonna have that. Woohoo! Alright everybody, as you can hear from the drops on the tarp, it's starting to rain now. I thought that might happen, but I was well prepared. I even have a fire going that's probably big enough to withstand the rainstorm. So, let's hope everything goes well and I'll catch you afterwards. I'm hoping this fire will withstand the rainstorm. We'll see. hail. It's coming down that hard. Holy cow. Well, the storm's still going on, but I haven't taken refuge in the tent yet. Just hanging out, kind of watching the storm. It's kind of fun. Listening to the thunder and making sure the fire doesn't go out. Well, I'm in my tent, listening to some of the loudest thunder I've ever heard. Pretty cool stuff. Let's see if I can get some on record or on video. Waiting for the thunder. Oh, here comes some. Oh, that's still a long ways away. Better towards the end. So it did rain for quite a while, but I'm happy to report there were plenty of coals left over to get the fire started again. And now I can get things dried out. Spirit Lake after the rain. For dinner tonight I'm having ramen with Tuna Creations rice and beans in hot sauce. And it's pretty stinking good, if I do say so myself. Maybe I've been on the trail too long, but it's hitting the spot. Alright, every other day on this trip, I went to bed at sunset. Today, I'm going to splurge a little and stay up with the fire. So, to everybody out there, good night, and I'll see you in the morning. Good morning, everybody. It's day 8, my final day. Here's a view of Spirit Lake in the early morning. And I have a hike today going up 3 mountains to a 4th mountain. So I'll be hiking up Penitente Peak, Lake Peak, and Desolation Peak, and then over to Tsuki Peak where the radio towers are. And then I'll be going home. Okay, one last quick look at Spirit Lake. And I'm off to end my journey. So the first trail section will be in about a mile and a half to where the Skyline Trail meets with the Windsor Trail again, and then I'll climb Penitente Peak, then Lake Peak, and then Desolation Peak, and I'll be done, pretty much. It's the intersection of the Windsor and Skyline Trail. And I have another sign here. Skyline Trail 251 is this way. That's where I'm going, to climb Penitente Peak. I like this little view of Lake Peak through the trees here. It shows me where I'm going to end up later today. There's a trail sign here, but it's not really a junction. To the left it goes to Lake Peak, and to the right it goes to Porto Nambe. But let's get up here a little ways and take a look at the view. Okay, here's the view on the trail up to Penitente Peak. And then I'm going to follow that little ridge to the top of that peak, which is Lake Peak. Oh, and I see a couple people up there now. But anyway, if I turn this way, that view is off into the Rio Grande Valley. It's very hazy. And then that's Santa Fe Baldy. Way in the back there is Truchas Peaks, which we also hiked by. Those 2 peaks right there are Pecos Baldy, east and west. And then you can see that far ridge all the way back there. I hiked that whole thing. That's a pretty mountain over that way. And I'm up about as high as it goes on Penitente Peak. I don't think I'm going to rise to the top of the peak. It's only a few meters higher, but I've already been up there, and Lake Peak's probably a little bit better view anyway. So I'm going to go around this one and go up Lake Peak. I've made it to the Santa Fe watershed. Okay, there is the backside of Lake Peak and Desolation Peak. And there's the radio towers. This is the first view of them I've had. That's where my hike ends. Woohoo! I'm almost there. Just about 2 or 3 more miles. And then a couple miles to the ski basin. But anyway, let's get going. Alright, I just came from that direction after walking around Penitente Peak. And you can see the view. I'm not going to say the names of the mountains. I've already done that. And I'm heading up this ridge, but it goes around right here. Still on the border of the watershed, if you can see that sign over there. And this is the Santa Fe River watershed. They have it closed so that it can be used as drinking water. But anyway, next stop, Lake Peak. These plants are starting to turn their fall colors. More fall colors. This might be the actual Skyline Trail, because on the back of the map it read that it drops down around Lake Peak, but most people go up this way to Lake Peak, and unfortunately that's what I'm going to do too. Alright, this is the direction I'm going to be going in. Oh, and by the way, I'm on top of Lake Peak, and right there is Santa Fe. I think I see my house down there somewhere. And then we have a view of the Rio Grande Valley. In the far distance was the Jemez Mountains. And as we continue around, we have Santa Fe Baldy in the foreground. And in the distance back there are Truchas Peaks in the far back, and Pecos Baldy east and west in the foreground. And that ridge in the far back is the one I hiked on to get here. And then over to Penitente Peak, and Elk Mountain is almost directly behind it. It's the highest point back there. That's where I started from. I also forgot to mention that down below us to the west is a great view of Nambe Lake. Okay, there's just a little short knife edge ridge between these two peaks. The knife edge is impossible to traverse, so the trail goes kind of down below. But it makes for a sketchy, nasty hike through here. Let me tell you, this is probably the worst part of the trip. Okay, I'm down some of the grueling part I couldn't film, but here's what the trail looks like below the knife edge ridge. This is part of the trail here. Here's another good example of the trail. This is just kind of pretty, actually. I think there's been some work done since the last time I was here. There is evidence of a real trail up there. Can't wait to try it. Okay, this was the nastiest section, and I made it up. And in front of me, Deception Peak. There is Lake Peak from Deception Peak, and Penitente Peak. And I'm heading toward the radio towers that way. There's my destination. Just a little ways off. It's actually before that, in fact. It's the road that leads to that tower. What the hell is that through the trees? It looks like civilization or something. I did it. This is the end. This is actually the official trailhead, I believe, to the Skyline Trail. 50 miles. Whew. Now I just have to find a way down to the ski basin. I've already called for a ride for my wife to pick me up. There were some people on top of Deception Peak that were nice enough to let me use their phone, and I'm ready to go home. Let's go down the hill. Whew, that's a long way down, but I think this is the way I want to take. Follow the ski lift. But there might be a way at the end of the ridge too, so I'm going to take a look at the map. I can hear a marimba band playing all the way from up here. It's down there somewhere. Okay, this is kind of weird. There's a little thing about the ski patrol here, and it's like a little memorial, but it just talks about what it takes to be a good ski patrol person. So I don't know what this is about. Kind of strange. This is what I've been climbing down. It probably doesn't show as that steep on the video. And then that's the other way. I gotta make it to that parking lot right over there. Right there. Alright. I'm almost there. Alright, I've made it to the road. And I'm hiking the road down now. Well, this is it. I'm done. I'm at the bottom of the hill now, waiting for my ride. Should be about a half hour. Conclusions about the trip? Oh man, it was quite the adventure. Definitely. Wow. I may have to do this later. I'm tired. But I explored new ground. Traveled country most people don't get to experience. Even at the very start, at the trailhead that I started from, there were no other names on the trail register, just me. And the best parts of the trip were just the views, the wildlife, the fishing in Lake Johnson, all that. It was a spectacular trip. So I guess this is it. From Star Mountain Outdoors and Bushcraft, this is John signing out. Have a good one. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and check out my links down below. Thank you.